How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Personal Finance Takeover. My name's Sean. This is my co-host Fabian, and today we're going to be talking about something pretty important, which is paying down debt. And something you guys should also do is hit that subscribe button if this stuff is helping you out and you want to see future videos. So, getting back to our topic of debt, there's a couple different approaches, right?
Yeah,
We have
absolutely.
the Avalanche and the
The
Snowball.
debt snowball, yeah.
So let's go into that. We'll just talk about the first one, which is the debt snowball, and I'll let you take that one away.
Yeah. So before I jump into it, I just want to reiterate the importance of this topic, just debt, because I feel like as Americans, we tend to carry a lot of debt,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's consumer, student loans or just, debt. Debt's bad for your financial health. And I think, overcoming it and putting a good strategy and a good plan will help you, reach your goals. So
Right.
yeah, so let's jump into the debt snowball. So for those of you who do not or are not familiar with the debt snowball is basically a debt payoff strategy to help you eliminate the debt as fast as possible. So with the debt snowball, you actually take all your balances and you look at your lowest balance that you owe and you list it out to your highest. And you do this unregarded to the interest rate or the minimum payment or anything. You just list it out. And basically your plan of attack is to pay off the most smallest balance first. And then you take that minimum payment and then you move it over to the next one. So that way it helps you rapidly pay it off. So for me, I like this one because psychologically it makes me think like I'm achieving a lot more. Not only am I, eliminating the debt, but I'm able to have those small wins a lot sooner. So instead of, trying to tackle a high interest loan or a high interest credit card, I'm able to take the short one, the low hanging fruit, get rid of it and move on and feel very accomplished as I'm eliminating them. So just to really just, really grasp on this concept is I'll talk about just a scenario that we came up with. And so hopefully it helps our viewers understand what we're talking about. So say, for example, you have a credit card, it's $350 balance. You're paying an 18% at a minimum of 25. Credit card 2, it's $650 at a 22%. Your minimum payment's $45. Credit card 3, I'm sorry, is $1,500 at 15.9%. And your minimum payment is $60 a month. And then you have a personal loan at $5,000 at an interest rate of 8.9. And your minimum payment for that one's $250. So you see how I listed everything out in balance total. So I went from the cheapest one to the most expensive one. And then I didn't list it out, regarding minimum payments. I didn't even look at the interest rates. I just looked at the balance. So what the thing to do is you take that smallest balance first at $350. If your minimum payment's 25, you got to rework your budget and see like how much more can you send. So if you're able to send an additional 100, 200, eliminate that debt the fastest, then you move on. So say you're able to contribute an additional, $100, that's 125. Once you pay off that card, you don't, save that money and say, oh, awesome, now I can go spend $125. No, you move that, you still think, oh, I still have this debt that I'm trying to pay off. You move those $125 over to the next card. So now you're attacking those $650 with that even a higher minimum payment to the 125 plus the 45, which will come out to 170. And then you're sending 170 and you're accelerating the process. So that's why it's called debt snowball. It starts off small. Think of a little snowball at the top of the mountain. It's small, but as you're rolling down the hill, it just gets larger and larger. So then by the time you get to your personal loan, you're paying down this $5,000 and you're going to be paying a lot more money. And you'll be able to accelerate that debt payment. So,
and then something cool is that you're paying like a bigger chunk, but it's not even different because if you were to add up all those minimums and that everything that you were originally paying, you just got so far along the way that now you're paying that big chunk into one in the personal loan instead of spread out among all the other cards.
Exactly. And it truly helps you, accelerate the process. So I know paying off debt, I mean, I struggled with it when I was younger, looking at all my, credit card debt and just putting a good plan and paying it off. And once there's something so satisfying about paying it all off, and then it just like makes you not want to get into debt anymore.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. Just start with your lowest balance, list it out, attack your lowest balance, throw as much as you can to pay that off. Once you pay that off, don't think that you have more money free to go spend. Use that, what you're sending, apply it to your second card. Once that second card's off, and so forth, and you should be able to eliminate your debt like pretty quickly. So
that's a really great way. And then so some people are going to be thinking, well, mathematically it might make more sense to like attack the interest instead of the lower balance and then work your way up. So that's where we get into the next one, which is the debt avalanche.
Exactly.
So like with the debt snowball, it's more of that like, oh, I got that quick win,
the personal accomplishments.
Like you feel more motivated. This one's more like the mathematical approach where like, all right, highest interest rate, that one's making me pay the most money in interest every month. So maybe I should attack that first. So if you want to go this method, then you're going to end up saving in the long run on interest. So that's the benefit of it. But that's if you could really like stick to it and pay based on interest rate and work your way through, no matter how high the balance is. So let's take the exact same examples that you had on the snowball, but apply them to the avalanche.
Yep.
So same thing. This time we have credit card 2, which was the $650 amount or balance on the card. And that one was at 22%. So that's why that one's first.
Yep.
Instead of the 350, which was at 18%. That one ends up being second in this debt avalanche order because the interest rate was 18%. And that's what we're thinking about. Interest rate only. That's going to dictate which one goes.
Exactly. Usually the highest interest rate gets paid off first. And as you progress through your cards, it's the lowest interest rate.
Right. Yeah. So you just chip your way through, and then in that example, it still ends up being credit card 3 was the third one in line, which was the 15.9% interest rate, and the last one is that personal loan at $5,000 because that was at 8.9%. So we're just working our way through the interest rates. You're going to save the most money on interest. And if you stick to it, that's going to make the most sense mathematically.
And I think if you're taking the same approach where when you pay off another credit card, you're applying that minimum payment, I think you'd still accelerate it. So you're able to not only pay it off quicker, but you can also save money doing it in this process.
Yeah, exactly. So like he was saying, just if you're adding in that extra $100 like you're doing in the snowball, and then you take that minimum, and then once that card's paid off, apply it to the next balance and add it to that minimum. And there you go. You just keep building it and building it, and you're working your way through. So pretty much the only difference is, are you focusing on the lowest balance in the snowball or the highest interest rate in the avalanche?
It's entirely up to you, however you decide. For me personally, and me and Sean have talked about this a lot, I like those small wins. I like knowing that, man, I have 5 cards, I'm able to eliminate one right away. Once I eliminate that one, I move on to number 2 and blah, blah. With Debt Avalanche, that's not necessarily always the case because sometimes, you might have a credit card balance that's extremely high. So it might take you a little bit longer to pay that off.
Right.
But as long as you stick to that plan and you're moving those minimum payments, like passing them to the next card, that way you can accelerate it. And you'll still pay it off sooner and save some money. But for me personally, I think psychologically, to me, it just makes sense having those small wins and have them more frequently and it helps me stay motivated and stuff. So
so just go ahead and pick whichever one's going to work for you, and they're both going to be great either way. So just stick to it. That's the main thing. Stick to paying down the debt, no matter which way you choose to do it. Just stick to paying it down every month, and that's going to be.
I think that's the hardest thing, right? we come up with these plans, and just sticking to these plans can be difficult sometimes because there's sometimes you get unmotivated or sometimes you get hit with stuff that comes up. But hey, if you watched our previous video, if you were able to come up with an emergency plan, boom, if you get hit with something, you're already prepared. If you have a budget so it doesn't, you're able to plan for some of these expenses, it won't derail you and help you stay focused. So.
Right. And then also, if you guys have a preference, Debt Snowball, Debt Avalanche, please let us know down in the comments. And if you like this content, hit that like button, subscribe so you can get all the future videos as well. All right, so thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.